In this lesson, I want to discuss the major structural classifications of neurons. Now, we have discussed a general neuron in another video and in class, and what we want to look at is the different ways we build up a neuron. How are they functionally, structurally different? And of course, their structure will dictate their function. So we have different shapes that we can use to classify them. And I'm going to begin here on the left side of the screen and work our way to the right side of the screen as we begin looking at the four, which we have anaxonic neurons, bipolar neurons, unipolar, and multipolar neurons. And I'm going to begin with an anaxonic neuron, and I'm going to simply draw a cell body. We'll draw this one in purple. And what I usually like to do then is just give off our little dendrites, our dendritic processes. And these do branch off, and we can see these guys. So we do have dendritic processes coming off of them, but what it does not have is, as its name implies, anaxonic does not have an axon. So anaxonic. Now the next two are very easy to confuse. Let me go ahead and draw a nucleus inside here, the cell body. Alright, so the next two can be very difficult, and we're going to draw, I'm going to use blue for this one. Now this is going to be a bipolar neuron, and I'm going to draw the cell body in here in the middle. Now we have a cell body, and here the cell body is fairly small. Now, of course, here's a cell body, and here's a nucleus. Now, on the bipolar neuron, the dendrites, we have dendrites come off of a long process, and then our dendritic processes come off of that. The other side, we have an axon coming down with telodendria that possess synaptic terminals. Now, this is what makes it bipolar, that we have here the dendrites, and here the axon. And it's kind of hard to write on this, so let me go ahead and remove that. And then we want to look at, I'm going to use green. Now we're going to have a unipolar. Now a unipolar, I'm going to draw it opposite of how you guys see it in your textbook. We got a cell body, sometimes called a soma. And then we will have two processes going off of it. Now, one of these, here we actually have, are both axons. These are both considered axons. On one axon, now, in this case here, the dendritic process on a bipolar is not considered an axon. But on this one, we have two axons. One possesses dendrites with dendritic processes. The other side will have our synaptic, our telodendria with synaptic terminals. And this one is unipolar. Now, the last one, last but not least, and we'll use red, is the most common. We have a cell body at the top. The soma, cell body. Now, the cell body is here. Let me put in a nucleus. Let me put a nucleus in here. Now, on this one, of course, we do have dendritic processes coming off of it. And you guys have all seen the dendritic processes. We've been talking about dendrites and how they communicate with it. About 90% of the neuron's surface area is taken up with this. Now, one of the processes that will come off of this guy at the axon hillock will go form an axon, the long process that goes all the way to the terminal end. And I wanted to make it thicker before I united it downwards. And then it splits off into its telodendria and its synaptic terminals. So this one would be a multipolar polar. So those are the 4 functional classifications of neurons based on their structure, the 4 structural classifications. You'll look at other neural videos that I will do as lessons to help you guys understand the breakdown of how these guys are. But this concludes my little video on structural classifications of neurons. Thank you.